Hi everyone, welcome to the Paperback Podcasters channel. So this is week 1, day 4. Okay, today some more, live lessons to share. Right, so let's begin. In my working career in this corporate world, I came across people of all sorts and uh, colleagues of all types. Some cooperative, some not so cooperative, some are hostile, and you get all kinds of people. But in any work environment, in any company that I went to, one of the most important people that I have to work with are the bosses, right? Bosses. Why? Because bosses are the people who hire people like me and to serve certain functions, especially like for my case, I work as an accountant. So I serve as an accountant in the companies I work in. So today I'm going to share with you about, bosses. I think it's a very important thing to know, especially if you're coming out to work. You need to understand why you have to carry yourself in a certain way, especially in front of bosses. Okay, so let's begin. Bosses are always right. Have you ever heard of this statement? Bosses are always right, but not always correct. In my previous jobs, my bosses possessed a common trait. That was, they had a firm belief in their vision and their point of view, and many of them are just biased. They strongly believe that what they have in mind is exactly what they have in mind, and they don't. Very few of them are open to other points of view. In short, they do not like others to challenge them. Is there anything wrong with that? Well, there is really nothing wrong. I mean, if you're a boss, if you have a certain point of view, you hold on to it, right? But as an employee, it's a bit different, right? As an employee, you probably have came across bosses where they give instructions or they say things that make little or no sense at all, right? And that's very common. What do you do? Well, let's see. You think you're right. You think that your bosses were talking rot. You think that your bosses were talking some nonsense that doesn't make sense at all. So, human tendency dictates that you would probably, if you're brave enough, to debate with your bosses over the seemingly illogical or outright stupid decisions that are made or to be made, right? But if you're older like me, then you probably would agree to disagree. You just listen and absorb. Well, you know what? If you do try to debate with your bosses over their seemingly illogical or stupid decisions, the next moment is that your boss or bosses may receive your response in positive light if you're lucky. But if you're unlucky, you get some unforgiving comments from your bosses that you do not know what you are saying, or that you are too inexperienced, you have no idea what their thoughts are. But you know what? The problem with, or not really a problem, but the tendency among many young employees is that you try to make your point known. You try to show others that you're right. And in a way, you are trying to show pride in your perspective. You're trying to show that you're right. And pride is quite an expensive lesson, an expensive experience. You prove your point, you tell your bosses that, hey, that's nonsense, hey, that doesn't make sense. But what's the point? Your bosses hear you, but not all of them would be very positive towards your comments. And if they are not very positive towards your comments, if they are not so receptive to what you have described or raised, then that may be a problem. Why? Because if your bosses are nasty, you get fired. If your bosses are not that nasty, they might bear what you have said in mind, and these do come back and haunt you. Right? But if you're lucky enough, your bosses take it as a passing comment, and that's that. Okay, this brings back to a very important lesson. That is, bosses are always right. You have to remember that, but of course, they are not always correct. Even then, you know, there is so much tendency for each of us as individuals, especially as employees, to jump up and say that, hey boss, I don't think that is correct. Well, is there anything wrong with these tendencies? Well, there isn't anything wrong exactly. It's fine to make your points known, you know. And I remember that I saw this on one of the notice boards that says 99% of all conflicts arise from the wrong tone of voice. And I agree with that. The wrong tone of voice gives rise to much of the conflicts and friction at work. But you know what? Then the thing is that, do you challenge your bosses or do you not challenge your bosses over their illogical and seemingly stupid decisions or things that they have said? It's a fine balance, you know. And I find that being able to respond to stupid comments, not just to bosses and colleagues, is quite an art, you know. Because if you can get it right, well, it can make quite a big difference to your corporate career. But managing or responding towards such comments in the wrong way also may mean a very quick downfall to your career. The working world teaches very good lessons, you know, and I think it's important to reflect upon all these experiences that you have from day to day, because like what I've shared with you, bosses giving stupid comments, making wrong decisions, or maybe not wrong, but seemingly stupid, illogical decisions. Uh, how do you respond to that? Well, and today I'm going to tell you that knowing how to disagree is a very important lesson, right? You might disagree, but you have to remember, as an employee, ultimately the person making the call is not you, but your bosses or the management or the board of directors. So another important point is that you have to try not to be perceived as a rebel or troublemaker. It's fine to raise alternative viewpoints or to express what you think, but to be perceived as a troublemaker or someone that is obstructing progress can be quite damaging to your career. Figure this: if you run your own company and your employee keeps challenging your decision making, what do? There is a very high chance that you might say, okay, let's get rid of him or her and be done. So, I mean, you know, as an employee, especially, it's important to know who are the bosses and who is, you know, paying you a paycheck from month to month. Right? It's unfortunate that you know, sometimes you have to swallow your pride and agree to disagree. And my following point is that it is important to remember that being right can be a costly exercise. You know, even though you might be very right, however right you are, you know, saying the wrong thing and having the wrong tone at the wrong time can be very costly. So those are the lessons that I would like to share today, and I think these are very important lessons, especially if you're going out to work soon in the corporate world. I hope that this has been very informative to you. I'm the Paperback Podcaster, and thank you for listening, and I look forward to share with you uh, my next video. Have a good day. Thank you.